What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are in the Bugatti Killer, like we kind of looked at in the previous update for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. But today is a day of redemption for the Bugatti. We're going to head on over to the luxury dealership for one very specific reason. And it won't be any surprise what that reason is. We've got some more of the Crown Jewel races coming up today. Now, first of all, we do have Crown Jewel Jade. This, of course, being the race around the map supercar, hypercar race, 850 minimum RP. Now, as interesting that one is, I think I'm going to save that for the very last race of this little mini series. Today I'm going to focus in on Crown Jewel Naker. This, of course, being a 750 to 950 RP for Bugatti, Lamborghini and Porsche. Now, I had a little outing in this in the Huracan, and we can really see the gap between the Huracan and the hypercars that are in here. Now, at this point, going into the race, I forgot that I already owned the 918 Porsche, and I had to get in a Bugatti. I had to get a bit of redemption. So we've bought a Veyron. I've not drove this car at all up until this point, and we went out and put hundreds of upgrades onto it, maxed it completely out. And I can only imagine that this is going to be an absolute weapon. Now, typically, like Solar Crown, it's night time and it's pissing down with rain. We won't get any traction with the slick tyres and just about 2,000 horsepower in this Veyron SS. Now, of course, had to do the carbon bodywork with the orange accents. That was the old poster car, wasn't it? I think everybody at some point did idolise the Bugatti Veyron SS. So it's, of course, what I've jumped into for this race for today. Let's not waste any time. Let's just head straight on down today. We won't ramble on too much like I typically tend to do. We'll head straight on down. We will get into the Crown Jewel Naker race for today and see how this Veyron performs. So, largely a Bugatti race. Veyrons, Chirons, 1918, I do believe. Is it maybe 2 918s? I've never seen the full car list there, but regardless, it's largely dominated by Bugatti. We're going to see how this one gets off the line. Once again, we do have slick tyres fitted, slightly damp road surface, but like we know from recent videos, the slick tyres are absolutely fantastic in these kind of conditions, so no issues with that one. Managing to negotiate that quite tricky tight right-hander there and powering away from the AI. It looks like the AI collected one another into that right-hander, just one Chiron I believe it is right behind us. Now, coming up here is perhaps the most bonkers thing I've seen in this race. Tight right, well, a bit of a right-hand kink here. The back end of the car hits the ground first and we front flip, over front flip, over front flip. Somehow managed to get back on all fours in the right direction and somehow managed to get the power back down, but I thought that was absolutely bonkers. Yeah, it's cool to see, it's part of the dynamic of a car. You go in the air, if the back end of the ground hits the car first, you're of course going to cause mass amounts of flips. So it's actually quite cool to see that. Very annoying, I wish I could have avoided it, but it's actually quite cool to see that happen. Nonetheless, I do imagine the AI will have suffered the same problems. I do imagine many of you guys will also suffer that same issue on this Naker race. Please let me know if you have experienced that issue. Whatever car it was you were in, do also let me know. But like we can see, 38% through this sprint already. It is disappearing ever so quickly. We are about 2.5 seconds ahead of the AI as we do collect a wall just there, but we are managing to stretch out a bit of a lead against that white Veyron, I believe it was behind us. It may have been a Chiron, we will check after the race, but nonetheless, power is down here. A nice little section here, drafting across the motorway. Didn't want to take it too fast. We know we've got not got the huge amount of grips we would expect with a dry road surface, so I was a little bit cautious with that one. But once again on the freeway, the motorway section here, we can put pedal to the metal and pin this Veyron essentially as fast as we can get this one to go. More than capable of over 300 miles an hour on its top tune, but of course we've had to restrict this one down to 949 RP to get it into this race. Sweeping right-hander here, we can see it does unstable the Veyron and we only just missed the central reservation. Very close call on that one, but we did still manage to miss it. Absolutely fantastic. A little bit of a snaking section up here. Again, I want to be a little bit cautious going into this. We can see that the back end isn't the most stable on this. At this point, I have no tune applied to the Veyron. How can you tune a Veyron? Let's be honest. That was the thinking coming into this race. I didn't build a tune for it. I didn't play with the suspension. I didn't play with the gear ratios at all. This is straight out the box with all of the upgrades added to it. Now overall on this race in particular, it's a big, wide, expansive road. It's not too much of a problem when we come into the tighter section. I imagine it's going to get a lot worse as we do hit a wall, saying we don't have many problems there. When we come into these tighter sections, I think we're going to have a little bit more of an issue with me not having any tailored tune to this. Cut across the road to the left here, and we want to push right again. We've done this section of the road many times before, but when we come under braking here, we lock up and we slide and miss the checkpoint, having to embarrassingly reverse there. Screen totally jumped away, having to reverse to reclaim that checkpoint, but we do now come around this right hander and we can now power down to the finish line here with a fairly solid race time overall. We can see the AI is nowhere near us, cross to the race line, commit suicide by hitting the containers ahead. But I didn't rest on my laurels. I went back a few more times to see if this continued to happen. As we can see, we come back onto the motorway section to that right hand kink, and once again the back end hits the ground first and we flip, and we actually get stuck on the outside wall on this occasion. Once again we go back in and we hit it again. What happens this time? We actually cross over the wall on the left hand side. We have another attempt at this and we hit that wall again, completely missing the road and take a total different course. One more effort here and we hit the back end off the ground once again, and we do manage to land on our wheels. So it must be apparent there that we have to take our time coming into that section. So we go again, and this time we did take our time going into that section. Again, the same kind of variety of cars. It does appear that the car list for this race doesn't change all too much, but we know we've probably got the best launching car out of the pack here. We know we can get most likely the best race time out of the pack. The AI are not going to be the issue. Again, this first turn I do take my time here. I don't want to hit that outside wall, but as we do get the power down and we do advance forward, we're going to take out that right hand kink cautiously this time, and it does seem that that is something I'm going to have to do the more and more I do this race. Yes, I do still just clip that wall. We need to tidy it up slightly, but taking our time through that right hand kink is most definitely the best course of action. We do save 10, 15, maybe 20 seconds over lap time again, hitting those containers at the end. I wish they would show it. But overall, a fantastic race. Really taking my hat off to this race series, the Crown Jewel race series that is, that the game has given to us. Some fantastic races, a good collection of races. Largely happy with what we've had so far. Still to do is the race around the map. That there's going to be the last one, the last update I do for this one, and of course we still have that massive cross-country race. Maybe that might be the next video. We'll see what happens with the channel going forward, guys. But I do hope you have enjoyed today's video. Please let me know what car you did choose for the Crown Jewel NACA races, and if you did experience that same issue on the right hand kink. Tune in tomorrow for the next update on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.